Jody Hardesty with Empowered Heart Connections. Intimacy is one of those topics that is controversial and many people have different theories and ideas about. And even some of the research gives inconclusive or confusing results. So it's hard because people like to make an assessment of, well, men like this, women like this. But there's a lot of variability there, and men and women, depending on the situations, there can be lots of factors that increases or decrease the likelihood of physical intimacy increasing or decreasing over time. However, there are many factors that can contribute to the increase and decrease of physical intimacy in a relationship. And one of those factors is the level of respect, the level of emotional connection, and the level of trust and safety that they have in the relationship. Typically, physical intimacy increases with the emotional connection increases. So if someone feels loved, respected, trusted, and supported, appreciated, acknowledged, all of those fun words that you want to have in a good relationship, typically the desire for intimacy either stays the same or can increase depending on the level of connection and desire of the couple. Now it's challenging because many men and women both have a fluctuation in their desire depending on what's happening in their lives. So they may have the emotional connection, that's fabulous, and they both feel desirous of each other, and yet they're exhausted because they have an infant. Or they're working endless hours at work, and when they come home, they just want to take a nap, or they want to watch TV. And the desire's still there, but perhaps the logistics are challenging to make work. They're challenging to figure out how to find the time to find connection and have some alone time, especially if people have kids. It can be really difficult to kind of meet up schedules with each other. The other thing is if there has been mistrust or a lack of safety in the relationship. So if maybe someone's super critical of their partner and their body, that can certainly decrease the desire for that other person to be intimate with someone who's saying that they're not really appreciating or approving of their body type or their physical appearance. So self-esteem and safety can be a factor there. So particularly if there's a lot of criticism in a relationship, that can really decrease the likelihood of physical intimacy. There are many factors that can contribute, particularly even physical experiences. Sometimes even medical conditions can contribute to if there is pain involved in physical intimacy, and there potentially could be a medical issue that may need addressed with your doctor, if that could be part of the problem. The other part is the enjoyability factor. If both people aren't enjoying the physical intimacy, then it's unlikely that they'll want to repeat it, right? Good feelings are reinforced typically in relationships and in general in life, right? We like to do things that feel good and make us feel good, and that is motivating typically. So many times it's about having conversation with your partner, particularly if you have declined in intimacy levels since the beginning of the relationship, which is very common, by the way, that often whenever we're dating, we're in that honeymoon stage, that people have those endorphins and they're really more able to draw on that attraction together, and we're purely focused on getting to know someone and having a relationship with someone. We're probably putting a lot of other things in life on the back burner. And so that changes the dynamic of the frequency of physical intimacy, right? If that's your primary focus, is connecting with your new partner and developing a relationship, that's your number one priority during that period of time. And although people don't necessarily deliberately choose to make it lesser of a priority, life can get in the way. So if you're working a lot, or if you have to get back the things that you were delaying because you were delaying them while you were dating, then you can obviously have just, again, that logistical problem with trying to find times to make connection and have physical intimacy with your partner. But the overall challenge is to explore what the area of disconnect is. And that's, I think, the hardest part for many couples is often people feel so rejected and hurt that they tend to shut down, or they take it so personally that they have a hard time connecting even in an emotional way. And then when that emotional connection is gone or depleted or lacking, that really increases the lack of desire for physical intimacy. So it's kind of a slippery slope whenever if you're feeling rejected and you're not having enough intimacy to make you feel connected to your partner, and you're not sharing that in a way that's helpful or in a way that's working, and then you feel rejected, and then you can see how it kind of snowballs and gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. And then the other partner feels also resentful and maybe upset that you're so upset, and then that kind of cycle continues. So this is one particularly important area that can be helpful with, looking into getting some counseling or getting a coach to help you really work through what those underlying issues are, to explore what's happening with that disconnect, and to evaluate if you can get on the same page with your desire for intimacy. Because some couples just have a different desire for the level of intimacy, and that makes it complicated. Do you sacrifice that need for having it as frequently as you like, or do you find other ways to maybe explore what are some other physical intimacy ways you can connect? Because there's other ways other than having complete physical intimacy, like physical touch. Are you making eye contact? Are you connecting on an emotional level? Are you sharing deep, intimate, personal feelings and experiences? Are you holding hands? Are you sitting next to each other on the couch when you're watching a TV show? Are you daydreaming about what you want in the future? Are you being hopeful and dreamy together? Are you connecting intimately in a way beyond physical connection? And with physical connection, obviously there's many ways you can explore to have physical connection that may be able to compensate, particularly if there are physical difficulties with that. But one way is just laying together, holding each other, touching each other. That having that touch and that connection can be really healing and can create that bond, can reinforce that bond, especially if you have that safety from the very beginning in the relationship. So it's important to make sure that you're exploring what those disconnects are. There are many areas that can cause disconnects, but primarily most people who are struggling with intimacy, there's something other than just the intimacy that is the issue. And so I encourage people to really look into that and really be open about what you're feeling and what your needs are in a loving and respectful way. And it's really hard, as I said, when we feel rejected, especially if you have had a higher level of intimacy in the beginning of the relationship and things start to peter out. It's hard to know what's happening with that. So ways to address this by, again, using those I statements, as I've talked about before, is, I'm feeling really alone. I feel disconnected. I don't feel wanted. I really need your help with this. Rather than, you're just cold, or you're just withholding, or you don't love me, or whatever those you statements tend to come out of us whenever we're feeling hurt and resentful, but to really make sure you're turning it back to yourself. And I'm really struggling. I really need your help. I need support. I want to be close to you. What can I do to make you feel connected to me? Would that help if we could increase our intimacy? Is there something that I'm missing? Or there's something that we're missing? Is there something that we can explore together to see if maybe there can be a way that we can repair this? And the other thing is, if there has been a betrayal in the relationship, then again, as I've mentioned before, it can be really, really difficult to repair that trust and feel safe to be intimate with a partner who has betrayed you or has cheated on you. So it's really important to make sure that you're talking about this stuff before it gets to that point, because at that point, it can be irreparable, and it can be really, like I said, nearly impossible to repair that trust once it's really been obliterated like that. So really check in with each other, make sure that there's other ways that maybe you can explore physical intimacy, even massages or foot massages, back massages, having some other way to really find a connection that feels close and intimate. And again, really making sure that you're finding those words to be connected and ask for what you need and be clear for what you need, because that is the solution in many situations to finding a resolution. If your partner doesn't know what you want, and if you assume they know what you want, you're probably wrong. So I find this happens a lot in relationships, is that we make assumptions. We assume that our partner knows what we need, our partner knows what we want, and they probably don't. So it's okay to say explicitly what you want in a clear, direct, and loving way, so that your partner can understand what you're looking for, what you're hoping for. And even if the solution is that you're not compatible, it's important to find that out. Like, why spend time hurting whenever you can explore what the possible solutions are to your problem? So keep on connecting, keep on trying to communicate, and again, reach out for help if you need it. Many couples can benefit from having a neutral third party kind of help them navigate through this stuff, because sometimes people get in that stuck cycle of attack and defend, or attack and attack, or defend and defend, and neither one of you are being heard and validated and supported. And it can really make a big difference if you give yourself some opportunities other than what you've already been trying, right? They say banging your head against the wall expecting different results, right? Not so effective. But when you try another alternative to kind of get some different perspective, it can really make a big difference in your relationships. So making sure you keep trying and keep reaching out, keep sharing what you need, use those I statements, and evaluate other ways you can explore intimacy with your partner. Thank you for watching. I hope this has been helpful, and please stay tuned for the other videos.